Once upon a time, in a quaint village nestled between rolling hills and a whispering forest, there lived a young girl named Lila. Her village was known for its golden fields of wheat and the sweet aroma of baked goods that wafted through the air every morning. But Lila was no ordinary baker. She had a gift that would soon lead her on an adventure as magical as the moonlit sky itself. The moon hung low and full, casting a silvery glow over the village of Willowbrook. Lila, a girl of 12 with flower-dusted hands and a heart full of dreams, wandered into the forest. She carried a basket, hoping to gather wild berries for her next batch of pastries. The trees whispered secrets to one another, and the air was thick with the scent of pine and earth. Deep in the woods, when the shadows danced and the moonlight barely pierced the canopy, Lila stumbled upon an old, moss-covered cottage. Its windows were dark, and its door creaked open as if inviting her inside. "Hello," she called softly, her voice echoing in the stillness. No one answered. Curiosity tugged at her heart, and she stepped inside. The cottage was dusty and abandoned, but on a wooden table in the center of the room lay a book that seemed to shimmer faintly, as though it held the light of the moon itself. Lila brushed off the cover and read the title, The Moonlight Baker's Guide to Enchanted Treats. Lila hurried home, clutching the book to her chest. That night, she pored over its pages by candlelight. The recipes were unlike anything she had ever seen: cookies that could heal wounds, cakes that could make people laugh until their cheeks hurt, and pies that glowed like lanterns in the dark. Her first creation was a batch of giggling gingerbread cookies. She followed the recipe carefully, mixing starlight sugar, which sparkled like crushed diamonds, and laughter-infused butter, which she made by churning cream while telling her favorite jokes. When the cookies were done, she took them to the village square. The villagers gathered, curious about the sweet aroma wafting from her basket. "Try one," Lila urged, handing a cookie to Old Man Grumble, the village's grumpiest resident. He took a bite, and burst into laughter. Soon, the entire square was filled with the sound of joy. Word of Lila's magical treats spread quickly. She baked healing honey cakes for the sick and elderly, and soon the village was abuzz with tales of the miraculous baker. Her favorite creation was the moonlight meringue pie. When sliced, it glowed with a soft, ethereal light, illuminating the darkest corners of the village. Children would gather around her bakery, their eyes wide with wonder as they watched the pie light up the night. For a time, the village flourished. Lila's magical treats brought happiness and healing to all. One stormy night, a shadowy figure arrived in the village. His name was Malvora, a traveling magician with a heart as dark as the storm clouds above. He had heard whispers of the enchanted book and sought to claim it for himself. Malvora was cunning. He disguised himself as a weary traveler and knocked on Lila's door, asking for shelter. Kind-hearted as she was, Lila welcomed him in and even offered him a slice of her moonlight meringue pie. But while she slept, Malvora stole the book and vanished into the night. When Lila discovered the book was gone, her heart sank. She knew Malvora would use its magic for selfish purposes, and she feared for her village. Determined to save her home, Lila set out on a journey to retrieve the book. She followed Malvora's trail deep into the forest, where the trees grew twisted and the air was thick with unease. At last, Lila found Malvora in a crumbling tower, surrounded by dark clouds and swirling shadows. He had already begun baking, but his creations were twisted and malevolent. "Ah, the little baker," Malvora sneered. "What do you hope to accomplish here?" Lila's heart pounded, but she stood tall. "I've come to take back what's mine." Malvora laughed, a sound as cold as winter wind. "You're too late. With this book, I will rule not just this village, but the entire world." Lila remembered the final recipe in the book, a recipe so powerful, it could only be baked under the light of a full moon. It was called the Starlight Symphony Cake, a dessert that could restore balance and banish darkness. With courage in her heart, Lila began baking. Malvora laughed, thinking her efforts were futile, but Lila's determination was unshakable. As the moon reached its zenith, the cake was complete. It shimmered with 1,000 colors, and when Lila placed it on the table, a symphony of light and sound filled the tower. The darkness was swept away, and Malvora's twisted creations crumbled to dust. Defeated, Malvora fled into the night, never to be seen again. Lila returned to the village with the enchanted book, her heart full of pride and relief. The villagers celebrated her bravery, and the Starlight Symphony Cake became a symbol of hope and unity. From that day forward, Lila continued to bake, sharing her magical treats with all who needed them. The village prospered, and the legend of the Moonlight Baker spread far and wide. And so, dear reader, if you ever find yourself wandering through a moonlit forest and catch the scent of something sweet and magical, follow it. You might just stumble upon Lila's bakery, where the pastries are warm, the laughter is endless, and the light of the moon shines brighter than ever, for in the heart of every enchanted treat lies a little bit of magic, and a reminder that even in the darkest of times, a single act of kindness can light up the world. And they lived happily ever after.